Welcome back for the land use bylaw, amending bylaw number 24-23, 416 and 417 for ADB Archie Kleiber Trail. The public hearing is for the bylaw number 2423, being a bylaw to amend land use bylaw number 14 to 11, is in session at 7 p.m. The public hearing is held pursuant to the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, and amendments thereto. Legislative Services, please.
Thank you, Worship and Council. The purpose of the public hearing is to discuss bylaw 2423. First reading of this bylaw was given during the February 19th, 2025 regular council meeting. The public hearing was advertised in the following ways. February 24th, 2025, notice of the public hearing was posted to the town's website. February 24th, 2025, notice was mailed to adjacent landowners via Canada Post. February 26th, 2025, March 5th, 2025, and March 12th, 2025, notice of the public hearing was posted in the Strathmore Times. And in March 2025, a notice of the public hearing was included in the town's utility insert. No written submissions have been received to date for this public hearing.
Thank you. Pursuant to the Town's Council's procedure bylaw, the following rules of conduct shall be followed during the public hearing to ensure procedural fairness. No person shall address council without the permission of the deputy mayor. No person shall speak more than once or for more than 5 minutes. You will hear a bell ring at the 4-minute mark to give you time to complete for the time required to answer questions from council. Respect for staff, council, and the public shall always be maintained, and any person who wishes to address council shall state and spell their name. The order of presentation shall be the administration, those in favor of the bylaw, those opposed to the bylaw, and any other person deemed to be affected by the bylaw. Council may ask questions of the speakers after each presentation. For clarification purposes, there will be no debating the bylaw. Would administration like to present? Kate, please. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I hope you hear me, right? Sorry. Okay. Today, I'm presenting an application for the land use redesignation for 416 and 417 ATB Archie Kleiber Trail. The external and internal circulation concluded on November 15, 2024, with no concerns raised from agencies regarding the project. The site is currently being developed and is divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 has been completed. Phase 2 and 3 are still in progress. The lot is located at the intersection of Archie Kleiber Trail, Lakeside Boulevard, Ridge Road, and Highway 1. The land is surrounded by CHWY Highway Commercial District and P1 Public Service District. Currently, childcare service are not a listed use in the CHWY district. The proposal seeks to establish a childcare facility with an adjacent playground enclosed by a 6-foot fence for safety. 7 parking stalls have been allocated for staff as required by the land use bylaw. This location, situated near downtown and the highway, offers a convenient and accessible childcare option for the community. Expanding childcare service in Strathmore may help address the growing needs of families in town. In conclusion, staff propose a district overlay to the Highway Commercial District, allowing childcare service at 416, 417 ATB Archie Kleiber Trail as a permitted use. Tonight, we recommend that Council proceed with the public hearing for bylaw number 2423 and take into consideration all information received at the public hearing. Thank you, Your Worship and Council.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who supports bylaw number 2423 who wishes to speak? Trish Jan, thank you.
Sorry. My name is Trishita Jain. I'm a member of applicant team, and I'm here seeking approval for a land use bylaw amendment at 416 and 417 ATB Archie Clyburn Trail. The purpose of this amendment is to include childcare service as a permitted use under the current commercial highway district land use zoning, which as it stands does not include childcare use. There has been a significant and growing demand for childcare services throughout Alberta in recent years. The provincial government has recognized this need and is working toward expanding the childcare capacity with the goal of creating up to 68,700 new licensed spaces by March 2026. The subject site for this amendment is suitable for childcare services, given its close proximity to residential areas, school, businesses, and easy accessibility from highway for communities around Strathmore. There will be 2,400 square feet of indoor space with 1,200 square feet of secured outdoor play space and provision for on-site as well as on-site staff as well as pickup drop-off parking. This location would not only provide a service to the local families, but also support the broader community by creating new local jobs and supporting the growth of other local businesses. The proposed amendment is in compliance of bylaw requirements for the childcare services. The request for land use bylaw amendment is well supported by the town of Strathmore, and we request for council approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and I appreciate your time and consideration.
Councillor Wiley, please.
Hi, thanks for coming. You mentioned pick up and drop off parking. In the map I saw, I thought it just referred to staff parking, 7 spots for staff parking. Where would be the parent parking?
So I'm not sure if there's a map here, but there are pickup and drop-off stalls as well provided in that map. They are all along the building side.
Okay, so Councillor Langmaid showing me here. So is it possible for administration to put the map back up? Thank you. So the parking that's shaded in pink, is that the staff parking?
So parking shaded in pink is staff parking, but the parking right in front of the playground zone, right at the northeast corner, is a pickup drop-off stall. And there is one pickup drop-off stall right in front of the daycare as well.
So then presumably parents would not need to be crossing the parking lot with their little ones?
No.
Those spots would be reserved 24/7, or at least the hours that
For the business hours, yes.
the business hours?
Yes.
So they're just crossing, they're coming out the building on a sidewalk back toward their cars.
Yes.
Okay, with daycares, child cares, I'm assuming pickup and drop-off time are mostly before 8 a.m. and after 5 p.m. Is that typically what you see?
Pickup can be anywhere after 3 o'clock, yes. But drop-offs are generally 6 to 8, or I would say 6 to 8:30. But pickups are typically after 3 p.m.
Okay, I'm asking because I recognize how busy that parking lot has become. I'm just concerned that the morning rush is going to correlate directly with pickup and drop-off time with the daycare.
They should not be concerned, but if that can be a concern, the staff parking can be switched with the pickup parking so that pickup parking is more closer to the building. Staff parking, they don't use it often other than leaving when business is closing.
Yeah. And if I can get a read on this map properly, the parents are backing in right into that main exit. In fact, the only exit that can take people back onto Highway 1. Is that correct? So if you look at the pink parking spots,
Yeah.
they'll have to back up into where the cars are already backed up, waiting to come out onto Archie Clyburn Trail to the north.
So there are 2 ways, yes. Like they can either go Archie Clyburn Trail or Lakeside Boulevard, and because there are 2 exits to this site, there should not be a concern because this is a private site, so speeds are always controlled when people are driving.
I have a question for administration. Is now a good time or is this the wrong time? It's not.
Thank you, Worshiping Council. So ultimately, it's up to the chair. You can ask the question now, or you can wait till the questions for clarification at the end of the public hearing.
Chair, is it all right if I ask a question for administration now?
Yes, go ahead.
Administration, you may not know this off the top of your head, but is there a long-range plan for the intersection of Archie Kleiber Trail and I can't get a read on the service road that comes out of the Walmart? What's that road called?
Ranch Market.
Ranch Market. Is there a plan, a 10-year plan, for example, where the Archie Kleiber Trail and the Ranch Market Trail will actually have a roundabout? The reason I ask this is I've seen this in municipalities where it gets really crazy busy in these kind of situations. And if you could imagine people who want to get back onto Highway 1, what they can actually do is come out of that parking lot towards Archie Kleiber, and they all make right-hand turns. This is in Golden, for example. A resident was telling me about this. And then they all hit the roundabout and they come around back out onto the highway. And it keeps the flow of traffic going quite a bit better. Just wondered if that's something you've even thought about, or is it, yeah. Thank you, and thank you.
Good evening, Your Worship, and to you, Councillor Wiley. So, as you know, Council looks at a 5-year capital plan annually. This item isn't in that capital plan currently, but if you remember when we were looking at Lakeside Boulevard and Archie Kleiber Trail, which we put the signalized intersection in, we did look at the option of a roundabout. It didn't make sense in that particular location. However, we have briefly looked at that intersection that you're referencing. We do have the land base to do it, so it's definitely something that could be explored. Is it in a short-term plan? No, but could it be in the future? Yes.
I'm really pleased to hear you already know there is the room. So there would be room for a potential roundabout there.
Yes, there's the Lakeside Boulevard and Archie Kleiber Trail intersection. Obviously, there's the school, there's this development, there's the Petro-Canada, and there's another. It's covered by adjacent development, whereas that other one has got a little more what I would consider greenfield, although some of it is our storm infrastructure, but there's a better opportunity to accommodate.
Now, obviously, you haven't done any studies or anything, but off the just first impression and hearing that plan, or it sounds like maybe you've even considered it before, is that something that could keep the traffic flowing a little more smoothly out of there?
I would want to do a formal study, but I think it's definitely possible.
All right, I appreciate it. I have no more questions for administration or for the people in favor of the bylaw.
I have one question for Trish. I'm wondering, what time does your facility close at? What time does your facility close at?
Thank you. Yeah. Typically, timings are 6 to 6.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in favor of the bylaw? Is there anyone present who opposes bylaw number 2423 who wishes to speak? Jason? Thank you.
Just waiting for my pretty pictures to go up. Jason Hollingsworth, JASON HOLLINGS WORTH. Sorry about the length. Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to speak today with regards to bylaw amending bylaw 24-23, affecting the Strathpoint development. Although I'm a business owner in town, I do support business development, but I only support business development that makes the most amount of sense, and this is why I'm speaking against this amendment today. I'd also like to add, I'm not against daycare facilities. I used to use them when I was younger, but I am more in favor of them being in the right location. Just like the development at the end of Grays Lake that was taken off. It was a good development, but perhaps the wrong location. So I will be speaking to my opposition to this for 3 primary reasons, one that will lead into the other. As you can see up on the screen, if you just want to cycle through those quickly, they're not really meant for informational purposes, but I just wanted to show that those are the town's land use bylaws, pulled right from the bylaws of the town. In any mixed development, you really have to apply different parking controls, I guess you can say. And I would estimate that you're going to need at least 3 stalls per bay for this development based on your land use. And the young lady speaking in favor of this actually went up to 3.5. She said it's going to be 2,400 square feet. Each bay is about 1,200 square feet, so you're looking at 3.5. So my math is going to be a little bit on the light side. But if you're given 15 proper bays plus the Starbucks, and then including the Arby's and Petro-Canada, I'm estimating you're going to need about 60 stalls. Can you flip, please, to the version that I have of the development? Mine is not as accurate as the one that was presented, but it's close enough. I believe it's page 4, Claudette. Well, she's bringing that up. It's the site map. There you go, thank you. So that as is not exactly as it is now, but it's accurate enough. So my old eyes in the grainy picture, I calculate 65 spots that are approved for that lot, or for that site plan. I'm estimating you're gonna need at least 60 just for staff parking. So that's leaving 5 spaces for traffic. So the issue at hand ultimately is going to be traffic flow and parking for people using the space. And just for reference, where I have my office space downtown, we should be at 21 spaces, and we are actually at 18, and for the most part, our lot is completely full with staff parking. There is only 3 operational businesses at one time here in Strathpoint currently, and parking and traffic flow are a nightmare as they are already. And then we're going to add, and young lady again, I had estimated 15 to 30 parents. It's going to be upwards of 50 parents going to be picking up children at any one point in time. Yes, that will be spread out over a few hours, but the parking for that development, especially for this daycare, I think will be woefully inadequate. And then as Councillor Wiley pointed out, it's going to be right at that pinch point for exiting from the development itself. So I acknowledge that by your bylaws, you can do this because there is enough parking stalls by your allotment, but I don't think it's wise to do so. So my second point is, if you could go to the satellite view now, please, Claudette, is traffic flow. So until recently, the intersection at Archie Clarber Trail and Lakeside Boulevard was a 4-way stop, and confirmed by the conversations just earlier, it was considered to have a roundabout at that intersection. I was not aware that there were constraints that maybe didn't make that possible. I wish you guys would have explored that a little bit further. I think a roundabout is the best option. The problem we have is at the west end on Lakeside Boulevard, we have a right in, right out only. So if you're wanting to head west or to your right out of that development to go down the highway, then you are required to go to that second spot across from the Strathmore Auto Spa and turn left, and then try and turn left at the lights there. If anyone's been there, we're all fan of Starbucks. It can be a nightmare to turn left out of that parking lot. And then similarly, if you want to head eastbound, you have to go right and then left at the lights that are there now, which can be equally challenging. That is a very short roadway. When you have tractor traffic, trying to use the card lock, again, it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So practically speaking, and again, just with 3 bays open and higher traffic times, it is daunting already to get out of that spot, let alone when all the development is full on the north end and then similarly on the east end. I'm suggesting we do not compound what's going to be a traffic issue already, or what is a traffic issue already, with more high volume. And so lastly, and that's the end of my slides, my real concern is how these two lead together, which is safety. Safety for drivers and pedestrians, sure, but mostly for children. A development like this with 2 competing drive-throughs, and there is a 3rd drive-through that's supposed to be there as well, and a gas station, I don't feel that's the right place for children to be. We're gonna have upwards of 50 cars through there picking up. Those 4 stalls are gonna be full most of the time during pickup and drop-off. So you're going to have cars circling and circling and circling, and children and parents are going to be running through the parking lot. So just to sum up, again, I'm not against business development, nor am I against daycare facilities, but I just feel strongly that Although daycare space may be needed, this is perhaps not the best location for it. And that's the end of my presentation. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Councillor Wiley?
Did you say that daycare accommodates 50?
That's what she had said.
Is that
50 kids?
Is that the number?
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
that might not be 50 cars and 50 parents, but
Right.
it could be,
It could be.
right?
Okay.
There might be siblings, of course, but
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in opposition of the bylaw? Is there anyone present deemed to be affected by bylaw number 2423 who wishes to speak? Are there any questions of clarification from council? Seeing none and hearing none, I will close the public hearing for bylaw number 2423, being a bylaw to amend land use bylaw number 14-11 at 7:22. Thank you. I'd like to move on to 4.2, land use bylaw amending bylaw number 25-04, Lakewood Phase 2B. The public hearing for bylaw number 25-04, being a bylaw to amend land use bylaw number 14-11, is in session at 7:23 p.m. This public hearing is held pursuant to the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M-26, and amendments thereto. Legislative services, please.
Thank you, Worshiping Council. This purpose of this public hearing is to discuss bylaw 2504. First reading was given during the February 19th, 2025 regular council meeting. The public hearing was advertised in the following ways. Notice of the public hearing was posted to the town's website on February 24th. Notice that was mailed to adjacent homeowners via Canada Post on February 24th. Notice of the public hearing was posted in Strathmore Times on February 26th, March 5th, and March 12th. And notice of the public hearing was included in the March utility newsletter. No written submissions have been received to date.
Pursuant to the Town Council's procedure bylaw, the following rules of conduct shall be followed during the public hearing to ensure procedural fairness. No person shall address council without the permission of the deputy mayor. No person shall speak more than once or for more than 5 minutes. There will be a bell that will ring at 4 minutes. And to let you complete your presentation and exclusive of the time required to answer questions from council. Respect for staff, council, and the public shall always be maintained, and any person who wishes to address council shall state and spell their name. The order of presentation shall be the administration, those in favor of the bylaw, those opposed to the bylaw, and any person deemed to be affected by the bylaw. Council may ask questions of the speakers after each presentation for clarification purposes. There will be no debating the bylaw. I would like administration to present. Chuck Proctor, please.
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. My name is Chuck Proctor. I'm the manager of Development Services. I'm here to talk about Lakewood Phase 2B tonight. This is bylaw 2504. So staff received a land use bylaw redesignation application from Devmore Developments, Inc. This is Lakewood Phase 2B in the portion of Northwest 22, 24, 25 west of the 4th Meridian, located in Northwest Strathmore. A mix of low to high residential densities are proposed. I just have copies of our newspaper ad and our letter that went out to adjacent landowners. And this is the community that we're talking about in Northwest Strathmore there in red, the Lakewood community. So this is the land use concept or proposal that the developer has submitted to the town of Strathmore. I've got a zoomed in slide on the next, zoomed in version of this on the next, this slide here. You can see kind of the beige is R1N, the orange color is R2, R2X is kind of that mustard yellow, and then the the red is R3 and green P1. The developers propose a mix of uses, a mix of housing for this phase. This amendment proposes to create and change the land use of 71 R1N lots, 13 R2 lots, 42 R2X lots, 2 R3 lots, and 4 P1 lots. There are a mix of housing types, as I mentioned, including single detached, semi-detached, and attached. The P1 lands, those green lands around the storm ponds, are intended to be municipal reserve and owned and maintained by the town in the future. While the commercial area is not proposed in Lakewood at this time, the developer is in attendance to explain their concept and vision for the community. Staff think the proposed land use bylaw or land use is appropriate for the lands. And staff think the proposed land use is generally in line with the ASP and its policies. I just have some of the policies up there for the ASP that this one matches. I won't read them out word for word. And then the developer has also requested the flexibility to go to 1.2 meter side yard setbacks in Lakewood instead of 1.5, which is our standard. The homes will need to still meet National Building Code Alberta edition. Previous phases, so Lakewood Phase 1, Lakewood Phase 2A, did have these 1.2 meter side yard setbacks. In Phase 1, we supported them at the development permit stage. In Phase 2A, we did a district overlay similar to tonight. If supported tonight, the 1.2 meter side yard setbacks would speed up Lakewood in their development permit process. And then just our recommendation tonight is that council take into consideration all the feedback given at the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Langmaid, please.
Thank you. Chuck, just looking at, thank you, Chuck. Looking at the diagram of the proposed development here, I just want to confirm, is there eventually a plan to connect Lakewood, I'm not sure what road this is, maybe Lakewood Circle up to what will be one day the new Wildflower Road? That will be an additional entrance and exit into the neighborhood?
Yes, I may ask Ethan to answer that. I just think he's got a better answer than I do. I think we do.
Thank you.
Good evening to you, Councillor Langmaid. You are correct. Yes, that east-west road that's showing there will connect to Wildflower Road. And actually, during this phase, we're looking to just do the small portion of Wildflower Road to Township 244, just to create two ways in and out of Lakewood.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Councillor Peterson.
Thank you, Director. I know that the Fire Commissioner of Alberta always makes recommendations with regards to setbacks, and I'm wondering, more for people that are interested in this, what the position is in terms of planning and development with regards to the recommendations of the Alberta Fire Commission around setback prescriptions in this case.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to clarify, you'd like the planning department stance on the 1.2 meters?
I guess I know what the Alberta Fire Commission says about it, and I know that you would have considered it, and so I think speaking to it in terms of this, I'm just wondering if you would be willing to do that.
Yeah, sure. So we do circulate these amendments to the fire department, and we have the relative experts involved in the process. No concerns were raised by the fire department. The big point here is that although 1.2 meter side yard setbacks are proposed, they still need to meet Alberta building code. That Neil, the developer, might be able to explain it better than I am, but it can involve a side of a house essentially having no openings to accommodate that 1.2 meters. And another option is sprinklers in these houses as well. So builders in this phase, if supported the 1.2 meter setback, they would have to do one of those options. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chuck. Is there anyone present who supports bylaw number 25-04 who wishes to speak? Neil Coulter.
Nailed it. Good evening, Your Worship, members of council. My name is Neil Coulter, Nealcoulter. I'm the manager of, and one of the owners of the Lakewood project. I'm here with one of my partners, Bernie Birchill, and also Scott Silva, the Director of Sales and Marketing with our project. And we're here tonight to speak in favor of the land use application before you. We included a letter in your package, in your agenda package. It's fairly extensive. I'd just like to quickly talk about a couple of items, important items in that letter, just to reiterate. I'll be very quick. Number one, in our next phase, we are bringing on a variety of housing products to meet the needs and demands of today's market. Chuck went through R3, R2, R2X, single family, with the opportunity to have secondary suites in those units. We also hosted a community open house in Lakewood on February 20th and presented the proposed land use and subdivision plan to the residents of Lakewood. We invited people from around the area also to attend, and it was well attended by residents and only positive feedback. Actually, some of the residents are here tonight just so that they can talk in support of that. Our letter talks about the vision and future of the Lakewood community. The community wants to keep the small town feel as much as possible. We are in support, our entire team is in support of this vision. We will continue to develop our amenities in future phases, and we'll look at possible future commercial opportunities in future phases in Lakewood. Things are very exciting in Strathmore right now. We're looking forward to working with staff to move the project forward. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions?
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in favor of the bylaw? Come forward, please. State and spell your name.
Good evening. My name is Evan Patterson, EvanPatterson. My wife and I were the first family in Lakewood. We've been there for a very long time. We've raised 3 young children there. The progress that the development team has made over the last few years has been very, very great. The park, the pathways, the new houses going in are fantastic. I am here to speak in support of this plan because I would like to see more young families be able to come and enjoy this subdivision like we have. There's a lack of affordable housing in Strathmore, and this new proposed development will allow younger families to be able to get an entry point into the community. It'll allow them to come in, live in a nice affordable home, and then perhaps move to a bigger home and then even a larger home on the lake. It brings ambition and hope to families, and I would like to see that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Evan, I did have
Councillor Wiley?
mostly comment, but if you have any comments on my comment, I'd love to hear them. So that was my only hesitation. I was kind of sitting here wondering, well, that looks great, a little bit higher density. I love that from a council perspective, but I was sitting here going, well, I wonder what the residents think. And so I really appreciate you coming out.
No problem. And I really do think it's a great idea, so it's good.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present deemed to be affected by bylaw number 25-04 who wishes to speak? Are there any additional questions or clarification from council? I will now close.
Sorry, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Oh, okay, come forward, please. State your name, spell it, please.
My name is Bruce Stewart, BruceStewart, and I've been a resident for about 4 years now. We moved out here from Calgary, which we basically spent most of our careers, both my wife and myself. this community that we have moved into is remarkable. I think we were the second on the pond that was there before it got reconstructed. Working and seeing what the developer is doing for us is remarkable. Only concern I have is, and which I think was answered, is that having that second entrance into our neighborhood will alleviate a number of issues with that kind of density coming in on the old exit or entrance into the neighborhood. So that's what I wanted to come here and see that is actually happening, and I'm glad that has been stated that this will happen. So appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or clarification from council? Administration, Kevin, please.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. We should probably check if there's anyone that's opposed to the development.
Is there anyone deemed to be opposed to the bylaw number 25-04 who wishes to speak? Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing.
No,
Oh,
sorry. It just it
Councillor
went out
Wiley.
of order, so I wasn't sure if this question, so just questions for clarification, may I?
Yes.
So this one's just for administration. So I heard Ethan say that the road, the north-south road, is going to go ahead, and Councillor Langmaid asked about it. I guess now I'm curious about the timeline, since it was brought up.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. So a reminder that I believe it was mid-year last year, I came forward to Council to start the process of the wetland application that currently exists there, and ensuring that we got the proper approvals from Alberta Environment and that kind of stuff. So that process is ongoing. We have not yet got that approval, although we are hopeful and feel that is likely to happen here in short time. With that, the developer, with their application, like I mentioned, has included the portion of the road strictly from where their east-west road would connect north to Township 244. So it's a very short section of road, but it is a second entrance into the project. Separate from that, and an item that has been contemplated in our capital budget proceedings, is the full length of Wildflower Road from where Wildflower Road currently ends all the way to Lakewood. That is not being built at this time. However, once proper approvals are in place and funding is provided by council, it will proceed.
So Ethan, it's not part of the 5-year plan that you referred to earlier then either?
I'd have to double check. I feel it is in the 5-year plan, but I can double check for you that later.
So then for now, the only second access really is just that short section that then comes out to the east and heads north
Correct.
up to
So
what I call Oxbow Road.
In the short term, both exits from Lakewood will go to the same road. However, to the comment that was just had about the entire development going to one entrance and past, I'll call it those first houses that were in Lakewood, this provides two options to hopefully split that traffic.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Peterson.
My question, I think, is for Director Wilson as well. I'm just wondering, when you mentioned the wetlands, I know that that you've ensured that there's no loss of wetland, but there is a process for acquiring applicable compensation for those wetlands. And I wonder if you could just expand on that and explain that a little bit. Yes,
Absolutely. So, Councillor Peterson,
Thank you.
There is a disturbance of wetland, and that's why we are making the proper applications to Alberta Environment. That process started with us getting an evaluation by an environmental professional. From there were surveys done, there were site assessments done, determine the value of that wetland. As such, we made proper applications to the province. We are anticipating the compensation will have to be paid, and that was the budget that was approved by council at that time. I can say that we've gone back and forth with Alberta Environment officials probably 3 or 4 times at this point, where they've asked clarification questions, confirmation that we've thought of this and accounted for that. But at the same time, I feel like our application is complete and wholesome and will be approved in time.
So thank you, Director. In addition to that, does the province or does Alberta Environment consider the upgrades and the additions of the 2 ponds to be a consideration in the compensatory factors for the unavoidable use of existing wetland?
Unfortunately, they don't directly correlate the two. I wish that was the case, but in this situation, that isn't possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or clarification from council? I'd like to close the public hearing for bylaw number 25-04, being a bylaw to amend land use bylaw number 14-1411 at 7:40 p.m., please. Okay, we now go to public comments. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments regarding items on the agenda tonight. Please note, this is your time to let council know your thoughts. Comments will not be taken from the gallery after this portion of the meeting concludes. While council welcomes public comments and questions, there will be no debating during this section of the agenda. I want to remind everyone that if you wish to speak, please raise your hand and I will call you to the microphone. Before sharing your comments, please clearly state and spell your name for the record. Each member of the public will be given 5 minutes to speak to an item on today's agenda. As we want to hear from as many members of the public as possible, we ask that speakers try to be succinct with comments focused on presenting council with new information. Also, before we get started, please be aware that a bell will ring at the 4-minute mark, providing you 1 minute to conclude your comments. Is there anyone that wishes to speak? Thank you. We're now going to go to delegations. For 2024-2025, RCMP Q3 Municipal Policing Report. And I'm calling the detachment commander, please.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor. All my comments throughout this presentation will be made through the chair, or through the CAO to the chair to the rest of council for, I guess, ease of reference and efficiency. I'd like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to appear before you again to provide you with an update on our quarterly report and results for our community safety measures within the town of Strathmore. Starting with our first priority that we've been targeting with respect to our property crime reductions. We've continued to work with our pre-established programs to seek the reductions that we're seeking, which was the reduction of theft of vehicles, theft from motor vehicles, and break and enters by 5% from our historical 6-year averages. Our habitual offender program management program continues to yield the greatest results. I can say that of 17 habitual offenders, 10 of them were monitored in Strathmore. Throughout the program and in this quarter, three offenders saw their conditions expire, which again was a positive note that they were able to abide by their conditions to the expiry of the assigned time. We had one person who moved out of our area, and 3 of them were incarcerated as a result of offender checks and other related measures throughout this period of time. Again, we're seeing the most results for our members' efforts throughout that program. Our Persons of Interest program, again, is designed to keep an eye on people that we're aware of in our community but may not necessarily be monitored by conditions. The persons I mentioned that came to the end of their expiry on their assigned core conditions have been transitioned to that program. Our security skirt program continues to be in place. The locations that people can obtain those security fasteners for free are at the dealerships in town, as well as the fire department and the detachment. And again, as commented on last quarter, I believe at least one of our dealerships has made that a standard option with new vehicles that are being sold off of their lot. So it's been very helpful. I provided, again, a graphic as far as our performance in Q3 as opposed to our historical highs and lows. Throughout the Q3, I can tell you that we did have a slight increase in break and enters, and that was a result of some area habitual offenders that entered into our area, mainly targeting businesses. Of the 6 businesses that were broken into in our area, we were able to identify suspects in 2 occurrences and linked to a third break and enter in Q2. Charges were laid against those involved, and in 2 more occurrences during Q3, we've identified suspects and charges are expected. So we've utilized the assistance of our Southern Alberta District criminal analysts that were able to identify a crime series, as well as evidence collected from multiple offenses that were able to establish identities of those involved. And again, we were successful in ensuring charges were laid and persons responsible were held accountable. I've given some more detail here as far as our residential break-and-enters. There were 3 during quarter 3. One was an attempted break-and-enter, which was disrupted by our members, and 2 involved entrances into garages using door openers obtained from vehicles parked in driveways. So we are still seeing some crimes of opportunity that are occurring. Again, we try to educate the public and our residents as much as possible to be vigilant, lock your vehicles, keep items of value out of sight, and even promoting the 9 p.m. routine, which is just a quick check of your home and your vehicles and your valuables just to make sure all the doors are locked and everything's secure. With theft of vehicles, we did reduce the thefts by about half this quarter. In all 6 vehicle thefts in quarter 3, all of them were recovered. 4 of them were found in Calgary, and 2 of them were crimes of opportunity. In 2 instances, we were able to identify offenders and lay charges. Theft from motor vehicles, again, we're seeing significant reductions, and they're mainly involving crimes of opportunity or items of high value that are stored in vehicles in plain sight, which makes it an attractive target for those would-be offenders. I can tell you overall, in our property crimes areas, as well as criminal code offenses in calendar year 2024, we are at 6-year lows. And I can tell you as well that overall for criminal code offenses within the Calgary urban area, our detachment saw the highest reductions in crime. So we're very proud of those numbers, those results, and the efforts of our members being out in our community vigilant, but I have to also thank the community for their participation, willingness to report suspicious activity, and participation in investigations when our members have been out conducting business. So again, we're very happy with those results. Moving on to our traffic safety initiatives to seek the reduction of both injury and overall collisions. I've left information here with respect to our enforcement measures. Our check stop program remains in effect. During quarter 3, there were 3 check stops that were conducted in Strathmore and surrounding areas, which resulted in 1 24-hour suspension and a number of violations, but approximately 464 vehicles were checked. Our members are active with the Bar Walk program as well, and again, maintaining a high level of visibility has been very helpful. I've given graphics here on the following page here with our reportable collisions to date and injury collisions. I can tell you that reportable collisions are down, not only from last year, but our 6-year historical averages. While we have seen a bit of an increase in injury collisions, we still remain fairly on track with our historical averages. We're seeing, again, the most reductions in our overall reported collisions. Now we analyze the reason, or I guess the root causes of our injury collisions. They're primarily related to persons that are speeding relative to conditions, as you'll see in the pie chart in the following page, where we look at attributable causes, intersection offenses, and rear end type of occurrences, largely as a result of aggressive driving and driver inattentiveness. So those are going to be areas that we're going to be looking to focus on, not only with our members in the detachment, but working with our peace officer partners as well. Community engagement remains a priority for us as we move along. Our members are making dedicated school visits. In fact, in quarter 3, we had a class from Wheatland Elementary School come in and do a tour throughout the detachment. So you see in the photo there, the cell block and the police car were the 2 biggest hits in the detachment. Kids really enjoyed their time, and when I asked who wanted to be a policeman, most of them put their hand up. So we'll see if they make a visit a few years down the road, if they're still of the same sentiment, but we're still recruiting young, so we want to plant those seeds early. Our members are in attendance at community events, Remembrance Day most notably, as well as the Santa Claus Parade, and during Halloween when our members were out handing out candy to the kids that were out, and ensuring that everybody was having a safe evening. Our community liaison program remains active. We still have a number of initiatives that I'd like to remind the public of as well that help us, again, with our crime prevention efforts. That being a rural Alberta capture program, just a reminder to residents that anyone can sign up. It's easy. It's easy to locate as well through the Alberta RCMP app. It's free through the app stores. You have access to not only crime statistics, crime mapping data, Crime Stoppers, but there's a link to get on the Rural Alberta Crime Capture program as well. We do have a lot of success with obtaining video footage from residential properties as well as businesses that help us, again, identify offenders in a timely manner and help us to close cases and improve our clearance rates. Again, with an ultimate goal of preventing, detecting, and deterring crime in our area. Online crime reporting is still available for non-emergency type matters. And I'd like to just remind the public as well, where this might be a convenient tool to report matters that perhaps people might not think that the police can do anything about. We still want to hear about crime happening in our community, regardless of the prospect of identifying an offender. And the reason is we need to know what levels of crime are occurring, where it's happening, and what types of crime are happening. Even if there's a slight detail about that crime that might create a linkage between crime series that are happening in the area, which may be that point or that piece of information that could solve a number of cases, perhaps not the one you're calling about or reporting, but the one, but a number of others. Every little bit of information counts. It also helps to inform us where crime is happening, what types of crimes are being committed in certain areas. And where that helps us is that we can identify areas that we need to dedicate some resources and pay some attention. So again, I would encourage the public, even though sometimes reporting crimes to the police may be time-consuming, the online crime reporting method can be an easy way to report these crimes that are, again, non-emergent, that can have a phone call made later or follow up later, and particularly these crimes that people may not feel that could have a high degree of solvability.
Your Worship, if I could ask a question.
Councillor Montgomery, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Staff Sergeant. So is that going to be like a formal complaint that somebody would file, or it's just they could call in or just kind of talk to somebody and mention it?
Through the online crime reporting tool, it is a formal complaint process. And again, primarily the people calling back are those members in our callback unit that are essentially located. They can provide advice and guidance over the phone if there's questions that need to be asked. That may be the end of the contact if, again, if this instance is reported for information purposes and there may not be a likelihood of other avenues of follow-up. If there are avenues of follow-up, it's forwarded to the detachment and our members will respond in a timely manner. For those who want to remain anonymous, there are ways to report crime. For example, Crime Stoppers is the #1 way to report crimes anonymously. We still encourage people to use Crime Stoppers. It is a very, very valuable tool for us, and we have identified certain offenses in our communities and solved crimes with the help of Crime Stoppers. Further along the report, I've given you some information on our year-to-date calls for service. We're generally on track with our historical levels of reporting with some basic fluctuations. And that essentially is our Q3 report. In short, we're in good shape. Our crime levels are low within the town of Strathmore. I'm proud of the effort our members have put forth during this quarter as we see this fiscal year round out. I suppose 2 points, if council will indulge me. We're nearing the end of our fiscal year. We will be looking at identifying strategic priorities into the next fiscal year for us to continue to work on. So I guess, if I may, a bit of a homework project, if everyone's speaking to your constituents and you're hearing things in the community, perhaps if there's ways to seek feedback about what you're hearing from our residents outside of what we can do ourselves, where we should be directing our efforts, and what our community wants their police service to be focusing on. And the second, I do have one presentation at some point, if council could indulge me. I've mentioned that on June 27th, 2024, that marked 100 years of the RCMP and the Royal Northwest Mounted Police providing service to the town of Strathmore and surrounding areas. As one of our heritage projects, I did have a limited series of coins struck. There was 100 coins that were developed to commemorate this milestone. And as our community that we've been serving through those 100 years, I'd like to present one of those coins to council in the absence of the mayor, to our deputy mayor on behalf of council, as a keepsake and a token of our gratitude for the continued support that our residents and our elected officials have given us through the years that we've been here.
Councillor Peterson.
Your Worship, I just want to thank you through the chair, to thank you for your communication style and your targeted leadership, and the team that you've created has really made a distinct difference in this community. As somebody who's lived here for decades, you are making a difference, and it's just remarkable that with the growth of our community, we see this de-escalation of crime in the community. It's really remarkable. One of the questions I had asked by community was with regards to the capture program, and the question that was directed to me came through as a councillor was would there ever be a time when it would be useful for the police to target specific locations in the community, some of which would be residential, where people might put up cameras? And then the question that was posed was, and would the municipality ever consider subsidizing that to some degree in the best interest of peacekeeping in the community? And so I don't expect you to offer an opinion on that tonight, but for future consideration, that was a question that was posed, and I had no answer to that, but said I would bring it forward to you tonight.
Well, certainly the policeman in me thinks it's a great idea, but it'd be certainly helpful. But there are a number of issues that need to be tackled when it comes to surveilling public areas, particularly who owns a camera, who controls the footage, and how police may access that. So it's something that municipalities have tried in the past and certainly faced varying degrees of opinions on how that works. Again, that's something that I think would be best tackled by legislative services with respect to whether or not the town of Strathmore is looking to support that, subsidize it, and get involved to what degree. But I can tell you right now, through the Capture program, and whether people are signed up or not, we're still seeing a lot of success and participation, especially with the level of ease and sophistication of our home surveillance systems are these days. It's relatively inexpensive, easy to install, and in fact, there have been times where our members have contacted somebody who's at work and can check their surveillance from their cell phone and send us a video almost in real time, which has been very helpful. So I think we're focusing on our grassroots level of modified hitting the bricks, with our policemen and making inquiries with the residents and certainly seeking their support and help when it comes to keeping our community safe.
Thank you so much. Maybe it'd be a really good heritage project. Thank you.
Kevin
And congratulations on 100 years.
Thank you.
Kevin Scobel, please.
Through the chair, perhaps council would like to get a picture with Staff Sergeant Wilgoss for the coin presentation here.
And thank you for your presentation.
And I suppose with that, if there are any questions, I can answer them, but otherwise, thank you for your time tonight.
So you, right in the middle, said something about crimes of opportunity, people using garage door openers. Could you just repeat that? And I think just maybe make that clear again for the public, just public at home, just a warning or a caution. You talked about preventing it with the 9 p.m.
Yes, well, crimes of opportunity is really geared towards perhaps if a vehicle is left unlocked, running with the keys in it, keys left inside of a vehicle, even if it's not running, unlocked vehicles with valuables inside. We find that at times, vehicles that are accessed that are unlocked, offenders will take the registration insurance papers as an easy way to come back, especially if they've taken a garage door opener. and they'll wait to a point of time that perhaps they believe that the residents aren't home and access the home through those means. Certainly if people, whether it's reported to the police or not, if you think your vehicle has been rummaged through, don't take chances. Unplug your garage door opener, reprogram your current openers, as well as the garage door unit itself. Other crimes of opportunity might be a garage door that might be left open, whether it be by mistake or what have you. A lot of us here have kids, and I'm certainly, not immune. My garage door has been left open a couple of times as well, so it's not things that are on purpose, but at times it happens. But that is another crime of opportunity where a garage may be left open, a door that accesses the residence may not be locked when the garage is accessed, and people or offenders have accessed homes. With residences or businesses, if a door is left unlocked, that is another instance of where a crime of opportunity might occur. When we speak about the 9 p.m. routine, I think it's just something simple. It's something before the evening gets along too late, before people are going to bed. It's a way to do a quick patrol around your home, if you will, to check your windows, your doors, to make sure they're locked, they're secured, your garage door is closed, and if your vehicles are parked on the street, make sure there aren't any valuables left in them or left in sight, and to ensure they're locked. That's really the basics of it. Anyone can do it, and I can tell you historically in other places I've policed, where upwards of 75% of property crimes were crimes of opportunity, that simple routine goes a long way. I don't see those types of that level in Strathmore. I think people are generally quite vigilant here in Strathmore, but again, it only takes once, and it seems to be the old adage, it's just that one time that perhaps a door was left unlocked or a vehicle left unlocked that a crime has occurred. So we just want to make sure that people are reminded. It's a simple measure that everyone can take to ensure that they're doing their part to keep their properties and their homes safe.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're now going to move to the consent agenda, and I'm looking for a motion.
Before the motion, there's 2 items I'd like to remove. 10.2 strategic plan and 10.3 reserve funding transfers. And I can make the motion unless there's anyone else. Okay. I move that council adopt the recommendations of the following agenda reports by an omnibus motion. 8.1, minutes from February 19th. 8.2, minutes from February 24th. 8.3, minutes from March 12th. 10.4, capital operating budget carry forwards. 11.2.1, Marigold minutes. 11.2.2, Wademsa report from January 2025. 11.2.3, Wademsa minutes from February. 11.2.4 with management body minutes from January, 12.1 management body audit info letter, and 12.2 stars thank you letter. I have no comments on it.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. We're now to bylaws. So 9.1 land use bylaw amending bylaw number 24-23, 416 and 417, 80B Archie Kleiber Trail, and I'm looking for a motion. Doesn't say that there. Okay.
Sorry. Thank you, Worship and Council, for hearing my presentation during the public hearing. Tonight, we are recommended second and third reading. And also, if you would like, I can answer parking stalls concerns, if you permit me.
I'll get discussion kicked off by reading and moving that council gives second reading to bylaw number 24-23, being a bylaw to amend the land use bylaw number 14-11.
Any discussion? Councillor Montgomery?
Sorry, if you said you wanted to just talk about the parking issue?
Yeah, I can
please.
answer this concern. Is it okay? Okay, great. Claudia. One moment, please. Sorry, Claudia, these two slides. Yeah, this one. Thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for raising the questions. We truly appreciate the interest in the town's planning from our citizens. And I would like to highlight and mention that the land use redesignation focuses on principle of land use, which is to permit a daycare in CHWI district. The more technical matters, such as number of parking stalls, are more appropriately addressed through the development permit process. However, the parking stalls question was addressed through the development permit for the current site, which is used as a shopping plaza. The permit was approved on June 24, 2021. Sorry. And the revised plans were approved on June 9, 2023. The plan that was shown before is outdated, and the project is now well underway. At the development permit stage, parking stalls are calculated for each bay and its purposes as per land use bylaw requirements. According to the revised plans, building A, B, and D needed to have 55 parking stalls. For building C, which includes a proposed child care service, a liquor store, and a medicine center, 21 parking stalls are required. In total, according to the land use bylaw requirements, the site must have 76 parking stalls. The developer has provided 83 parking stalls, which is 7 additional stalls over the requirement. Again, these matters, such as the numbers of parking stalls, are more appropriately addressed through the development permit stage. Thank you for attention to this matter.
Councillor Montgomery?
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Wiley, please.
I can't. No, first reading, then public hearing. We're in the public hearing. No, sorry, but yes, we're done the public hearing, so it's second reading. Oh, I thought Melissa made the motion.
Oh, did you? Yes. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it happened.
Administration, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to clarify, just so I'm clear, I understand that second reading is currently on the floor for council's consideration and debate. Is that correct?
Yes. Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. I had some residents contact me about this and just their concern about the traffic. Even at that time, I didn't think it was that big a deal. But somewhere along the way, I missed the fact that there was going to be 50 childcare spots in that building. And I'm just picturing a drop-off of 50 kids sometime between, most of them would be 7 a.m. to, let's say, 8:30, maybe 9. 50 spots, we're thinking at least 25 cars. And I'm just trying to imagine people pulling into those spots in that time frame when the Starbucks is already, the lineup coming out of that parking lot is so far. I really hate doing anything to vote against a business opportunity, but I can't vote in favor of something that could be just such a traffic nightmare in such an integral place in our town. So I won't be supporting this motion.
Councillor Wagner.
Thank you. So I've been kind of following this a little bit here, and one of the things that I do see is there are people in town that are taking their children to other communities, Calgary and that, for daycare. I do believe there is a number of daycares needed. Still, I have driven by some of the already the daycares that are already open, that some of them are on busy streets for pickup and drop off. And I know safety is a huge, important factor with the kids. And I guess the big thing is, I will be voting in favor of this because I do think more are needed, and I don't want to potentially stymie any business from setting up shop here in the town.
Jonathan, please, administration.
Thank you, Worship and Council. Administration is going to be requesting a quick 5-minute recess, please.
I would so move, Your Worship, that council take a 5-minute recess at 12 minutes after 8.